Hey everybody. Hello, it is me, Danielle J. Mitchell, Queen of Real Estate. Let me fix my hair, okay? It is hot. I am a PA licensed realtor. I service Philadelphia and the surrounding suburbs, and I'm here for a noonday live. I have not been live in a month of Sundays, and so I wanted to come on here before I had to do what the topic that I'm actually going to be talking about this noontime is repair walkthrough. What is a repair walkthrough? What does it entail? Um, and all that good stuff. So, in the home buying process, let's see. In the home buying process, I know I talked about what to look for when you're doing showings or anything like that. But in the home buying process, after you go under contract for a property, you will go under contract. You'll get your inspection done by an inspector. You will have time to negotiate what actually gets fixed by the seller. Okay, and I want to remind you to subscribe. I also want to remind you to, if you're interested in buying or selling, to go to book.djmrealtyco.com. But when you are doing your inspections, you have your inspector come out, they'll give you a list of things that needs to get done. You buyer and the seller have this negotiation period where you negotiate what the seller will fix, what they'll give you a credit for, or what they won't give you a credit for or won't fix, okay? And so now you have to do what's called a buyer's reply to inspection. So when you're doing all this, you have now decided, you buyer and the seller have agreed upon the stuff that they're giving a credit for and or are fixing. And so before closing day, I have a closing for this property this week, Thursday. And so we needed to come in after the seller was done making the repairs for this particular property. We have to go soon to double check to make sure that those repairs were completed. Now, you have a couple of options here. Depending on the extent of the repairs, you can have that same inspector or a similar one, but typically you have the same inspector. You can have that same inspector that came out initially come back and do a re-inspection. So they're going to evaluate those repairs that you have requested for them to to do, right? And so the inspector is going to come back in. Thank you for the congratulations. Hello there, Al. And so they're going to come back. You can have that inspector come back. For those who are just joining, I'm Danielle J. Mitchell, PA licensed realtor. I service Philadelphia and the surrounding suburbs, Delaware County, Montgomery County, Chester County, all that good stuff. Hello, Linda. And so, talking about what do you do for a repairs walkthrough? And so, you can have your inspector come back out to assess what the seller has fixed. If they address the stuff that that original inspector had wrote down on your original inspection report. That's one option. The other option is for me as your realtor and you as the buyer to go in and to go ahead and assess the repairs that were made. Now, when it's straightforward repairs, like fix this leak, like making sure that works, all those different things, um, depending on the leak, depending on where it is, if it's a leak that's under the kitchen sink, you can turn the water on, let it run, and go ahead and look to make sure that the pipe is not leaking, right? Stuff that's straightforward. If it's a roof, though, if it's a roof, that's a bit more complex, right? So if it's a roof, you can't go up on a roof. Now, for situations like that, you can request for them to provide pictures, to provide invoices for the services that were complete, to provide warranty. You can ask for other things in addition to, if you don't feel like paying that re-inspection fee, right? So if you don't want to pay for the re-inspection fee, it's not as much as the first initial inspection, but it is still a fee nonetheless. You can go about it and do it yourself. It really has to do with your comfortability and what makes sense for you. And so that's what a repairs walkthrough is. We're going to go through the list of things that were agreed upon that the seller was supposed to fix. And we're going to see if they fixed it, if it looks adequate, if it looks like it's functioning. Again, some things are very straight. Most repairs are very straightforward. Some are not. So it depends on what's agreed upon. If it's something a bit more major, right? If it's like a sewage inspection or something like that, you might want an invoice, you might want pictures, or you might want just a reinspection period for something like that. That's a bit more major than something that's a more straightforward, like, I want this door fixed, right? That's something that you can check yourself as a quote unquote regular person, not a licensed professional. And so if it's something straightforward, like I need this window fixed because it has a crack in it, you can see when a window was fixed, right? You can see that a crack has been removed. You can see if a lock is locking or if it's not locking. Okay? So those are just some things to consider when you are a buyer, when you are going out here looking at these repairs and all that good stuff. Listen, if you're interested in buying, I need you to go ahead and go to book.djmrealtyco.com. Again, book.djmrealtyco.com and schedule your buyer consultation. If you're interested in selling, you can go ahead and go to that same website and hit listing consultation, and I'll get you started on your home buying or home selling journey. I'm here to help. All right. So I hope that makes sense to you all. Share it with somebody, write a comment in the chat, write something that you would like me to talk about in regards to real estate. All right, talk to you guys soon. Have an amazing day and stay cool out there because it's very hot. All right, it's hot out here today. Bye.